In the story of Rapunzel, the version that we most are familiar with, the Disney version, is Rapunzel is locked away and her hair is never cut and she has a long train of hair, and her prince finds her and climbs up her hair and rescues her, and they live happily ever after. However, in the original story of Rapunzel, the very first written version, the ending is much more grim. It's not a friendly ending. And it's a situation where Rapunzel and her father have clashing views on love and religion. And Rapunzel wants to choose her own husband based upon love, but her father wants to be the one that interviews the men and selects for Rapunzel. So she's rebelling against that practice. And then it was also in a time where pagan practices were prominent and Christianity was a crime. And so they had clashing views in that area. So when Rapunzel made known that she wanted to choose her own husband out of love, her father decided, I have to travel for work, I'm going out of town, I'm going to lock you up so that you can't meet anyone, and I'll just have people from the community bring her food and keep an eye on her. And while he was gone, she would meet with people and they would teach her about Christianity, and she decided to smash up all of her father's pagan idols and got baptized. So when her father returned, he was furious that she had destroyed his property and that she had baptized, and Christianity was a crime. So her father actually turned her into authorities, where she was tortured, and then ultimately her father beheaded her. So we don't really know that version of the story because it's probably not so kid-friendly, but it's a good example of what happens to an adult child when they try to set boundaries or cut off the relationship with a narcissistic parent or sibling, or maybe an aunt, a prominent family member who has an unceasing need for control, that doesn't understand appropriate boundaries and feels that it should go a certain way, whether it be religion, love. They're not willing to allow a family member, another, most likely the black sheep, to have say-so in their own life. They feel that it's appropriate for them to be the dictator. And so when an adult child in this dynamic, if it's a nice narcissistic parent or sibling, separates themselves and asserts, no, I'm going to make choices for myself, I'm going to have personal boundaries, it becomes the mission of that family narcissist to solicit the help of others to destroy that family member. And they will stop at nothing to destroy them. And so I'm going to touch on some of the areas that one adult can expect to experience, and many of us who've been through this will go, yeah, that's what happened to me. And firstly, love. The narcissist in the family feels that it's appropriate to give their input to another grown adult about what type of relationship they should be in, what kind of partner they should have. They'll meddle in any kind of relationship that they are already in. If they're already married, they'll be meddling in that marriage. They do not respect boundaries. They don't feel that that person has any rights. And they'll even go so far as to set up honey traps where they'll send fake lovers into their sibling or to their child or niece or nephew or whoever the family member is, to trap that family member in a relationship of their choosing so that they can't choose their own partner. They will try to control the privacy rights of that adult child. So that adult, who has every right to get their own mail and to have their devices protected and their email private, will experience hacking. Their mail will be intercepted. Their calls, their emails will be intercepted, so that, again, that narcissistic family member can control the communications, knowing who they're talking to make sure it's not the love interest that they disapprove of, or just to monitor and keep track of all the activity of that black sheep of the family. And often they'll get unauthorized access to bank statements and information about that person's finances, because often the black sheep is the giver of the family, the one that provides a lot of financial support to other members of the family. So the narcissists of the family really want to maintain tight grips on the knowledge of that financial situation because they don't want a new love interest coming in where resources might go elsewhere than to them. So there's a heightened level of control there, and also a criticism and judgment. If there's, an inheritance at stake, that family will withhold information, not notify the black sheep of the family that they are an heir. They'll keep pertinent information away from them, whether it's interception of their mail or not serving them or being dishonest with the court. But they'll be criticizing that family member in how they handle finances while simultaneously stealing from them while committing theft. They'll attack the support systems of the black sheep. So they want them isolated because it's easier to control that family member that's seen as rebellious if they can isolate them from having support of others. So they'll, engage in smear campaigns. They'll contact the workplace of their family member and try to affect their stability at their job, interfering there. They'll contact friends and acquaintances, people that they have not had the consent of the black sheep to even contact. It's totally inappropriate and an overstep of boundaries. But the narcissist of the family doesn't respect boundaries. They tend to have no empathy. They have no boundaries. Their ego's bruised if they're not getting their way. And so they'll stop at nothing to get their way. And they're very punitive. So they feel that that black sheep is rebelling and deserves punishment. And in their minds, they believe everything they're doing is justified. So they'll attack the stability of the black sheep of the family, whether it's contacting the landlord, contacting the job, they're getting their bank statements unlawfully. They may be taking money from them. They'll do things to shake up the foundation and the stability of that family member, again, to maintain that control. They'll weaponize religion against the black sheep. So they may contact church leaders and tattletale on the family members, say, oh yeah, they're sinning, and try to ruin their reputation amongst, the congregation at church. So they have no support system there, or, attack them for not living the faith that they feel that they should be. They won't respect the religious or faith views of the black sheep. They're not considered to have the ability to choose for themselves. There's a sense of entitlement that the narcissist of the family believes they get to choose, and if you're not choosing what they choose, you're wrong, and you don't have a right to choose differently. They will use the black sheep's own children against them and take advantage of the trust that they may have as an aunt or an uncle or as a grandparent, and misuse that role and that trust and play upon that with those kids or adult kids to betray their own parent, to turn upon their own parent, or to monitor or be a flying monkey of their own parent and damage that relationship. And it goes to show the level of selfishness of that narcissist family member, that they'll cause so much destruction to other relationships within the family in order to achieve their goal. And they'll get set on a mindset of this is how it needs to go, and they can't be budged. They are so laser focused on their end goal that they don't care who gets hurt in the process. They don't care what the cost is. They become relentless in their torture toward the black sheep. They'll weaponize the law or the court systems against their own family members. So making false police reports, trying to utilize law enforcement to wrongfully set up their family member, to wrongfully imprison them so they can have control of their finances, or make sure they don't end up with a love interest they don't agree with. They'll go to great lengths, even if it means, destroying the life of their own family member to get their way. And they'll manipulate the court systems and try to get control in wrongful ways, whether it's a conservatorship or a guardianship or a fake power of attorney, to, again, achieve these ruthless goals. They will withhold info. So there could be a death in the family of somebody the black sheep loves very much, and they'll withhold that information or withhold pertinent information that a family member should receive. And part of that control is, no, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to let you know what's going on. I'm not going to let you have an opportunity to take action. I'm in control. And they will, lastly, inflict physical harm. If all of those other levels of effort to dominate and be a dictator in the life of that black sheep are not successful, they may go so far as to take out a hit or send in a honey trapper that is very dangerous, that will do harm to them. They will go to great lengths to come out on top because it's a one-sided competition with a narcissist family member. They need to win at all costs, at the destruction of the black sheep, as well as anyone else who may be in the path or may be in the way. They'll utilize and manipulate and use people to help them achieve their goals, not even caring what the consequence will be for the other family members, or if they're going to end up with legal consequences or other relationships are getting destroyed. The narcissist in their family does not care. It's about winning at all costs because they can't have empathy. They can't truly love. And at the end of the day, the most important thing to that narcissist family member is their ego.